What's going on, Jets fans? Happy Sunday to all of you guys. And coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about Allen Lazard and Mark Andrews. Both of their names have been connected in the latest trade rumors around the New York Jets. So we'll break it all down on today's show. But before we dive into it, I do want to say thank you guys so much for hitting the subscribe button over the last couple of days. We're closing in on 7,000 subscribers here on the channel. We just need 127 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button. So if you guys have not already and want to get a Jets YouTube video in your life every single day this offseason, hit that subscribe button today and help us reach 7,000 subs. All right, Allen Lazard, going to be traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I knew immediately after Aaron Rodgers signed that people will be running with this story. And, Mike Florio already suggested it. There's a ton of articles out there that think this trade's going to go down, but I doubt it. I don't think this really has any chance of happening, frankly. I think Allen Lazard really wants to be with the New York Jets, and I think the New York Jets really want to have Allen Lazard, that veteran, in the locker room. And plus, the Jets wide receiver core, you're really banking on some of these younger guys stepping up, but it is nice to have the safety blanket of Lazard. Even though he's not the same guy he used to be, he's still just a solid veteran presence to have there. Now, I will say, if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers front office and pretty much demands they go out there and get Allen Lazard, then maybe the New York Jets consider trading him. But I think it really just has to come down to Rodgers and also how aggressive the Pittsburgh Steelers front office wants to be. But I also see a world where Rodgers just doesn't even think of the idea for bringing back Allen Lazard because, the Steelers wide receiver room, it's not like a top 10 unit in the league by any means, but I do think it's about top 20. Could they use some, upgrades at certain spots? Yes, but is Allen Lazard really moving the needle? Now, obviously, they have DK Metcalf, Bobby Trees, Calvin Austin. They're hoping Roman Wilson has a big year, but I'm sure they're more than comfortable rolling out with those four at the wide receiver spot. And, overall, I think just Lazard wants to be a Jet. And I think this all goes back to Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn has his team fully bought in. They have these guys believing that they can have a very successful year next season. And Lazard, he has made it clear, like after he restructured his contract, he posted on Twitter the Wolf of Wall Street meme where it was like, I'm not effing leaving. Like clearly he is fired up to be here in New York. So I don't think this is going to happen, but let's just take the other side of it. Maybe you guys are down to trade Allen Lazard. And I don't really have too strong of opinion either way. I just don't think it's going to happen, but I will say it would open up playing time for some of these other younger wide receivers where you would have to have like Corley, Arian Smith, Xavier Gibson, even a guy like Tyler Johnson, who is still young-ish, step up in this room. So that would be a positive in my mind because I do think the receivers that are younger on this roster have, more potential than Allen Lazard, obviously, at this point in his career. But I think it would just have to come down to the draft pick. I don't think the Steelers would offer you anything more than a 6th or 7th round pick. Now, if they maybe throw you a 4th, I say the Jets just take that deal and run, but I think that's incredibly unlikely. Now, again, it all comes back to Aaron Rodgers. If he demands the Steelers, be like, hey, we need to get Allen Lazard. Like, the Jets would have a ton of leverage in that situation. So maybe it's a 5th, maybe it's a 6th round pick. I would consider it, but I just think this Allen Lazard thing is just it's June content in the NFL, and people are just trying to run with any story they can right now. But I don't think it's going to happen. But, hey, if you're Darren Muji, what would you do? Would you trade Allen Lazard to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments section. All right, let's talk about the Jets getting a tight end here, and that guy being Mark Andrews. The Jets were actually linked to Mark Andrews. NFL.com was putting out 7 trades that they would like to see happen before the start of the season. And, with the Jets, people thinking they have a need at the tight end spot, I understand their thought process, but also explain why I would not even come close to making a deal for Mark Andrews here in a second. But this is what NFL.com had to say, saying there has been some speculation this offseason about the Ravens moving their long-time tight end. He's been a very reliable player, minus that drop in the divisional round loss. Also had a bad fumble in that game too. But this is a business after all. Andrews is a free agent in 2026, and with Baltimore needing to allocate money elsewhere, renegotiating Lamar Jackson's contract, the team could save $11 million against the cap and gain future draft capital by trading him. In come the Jets, who are in the middle of a rebuild and need more pieces to help Justin Fields jumpstart the offense. New York did draft Mason Taylor in the 2nd round, but bringing in Andrews for a year to aid this unit and mentor the rookie makes sense. I will say, even though I'm not a fan of the idea of just the Jets going out there and trading for Mark Andrews right now, I would like to just have that veteran in that room next to Mason Taylor because, he's a second round rookie and he's got to be the face of the tight end room. That's a lot of, pressure on him. So I would like the idea of Mark Andrews just being in the room with him, but also I don't want Mark Andrews taking away any snaps, any reps from Mason Taylor. I think this is a guy who should be playing, 80, 85% of offensive snaps this upcoming season. I would bank on that he will play around 80, 85% of the snaps. And Mark Andrews, he's always been productive with the Baltimore Ravens. I've always felt like he's been one of the more underrated tight ends in the National Football League. Now, this past year, definitely did not look like the same guy. He had a crazy touchdown streak, though, at the middle part into the late part of the season, going for 11 touchdowns last year. But, again, he's not the same guy. Like, we really saw that in that was that the Divisional Round game against the Buffalo Bills where he had that bad fumble, had that bad drop, and you could bank on him being the reason they lost that game. So, listen, Mark Andrews, he's still a good football player. Is he a great football player anymore? I don't think so. And, it's not like his contract would be too bad in terms of the Jets taking it on. It would just be a one-year rental at $17 million. But I'm also sure the Ravens are going to want like a third or fourth round pick for Andrews since he is on that expiring deal. And I could see like a contending team that has a need at the tight end spot, maybe considering a Mark Andrews trade. But again, with where the Jets are at, I just don't really think it's, too likely that this is going to happen. And I think the Jets are more than comfortable rolling in with the roster they have right now. And, you talk about that extra cap space the Jets have of, I think it's around $37 million. They're probably going to use that on Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson getting those extensions. So I would rather, obviously you can't front load those deals, but you could still make their cap hits for this season higher and then make it more manageable down the line. So I'm not really a fan of the Mark Andrews trade. Now, if you guys disagree, please let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And if you guys made it to the end of today's show, we appreciate all of you guys for watching. Just give me a me down below in the comment section. You're the best fans in the world. Jets fans are fantastic, man. So I appreciate you guys. But so the trade rumors on today's show, I just feel like it's that time of the offseason where people are just trying to connect the dots, trying to have just something to talk about, something to write an article. And I just think those are both moves for the Jets where I would not be a fan of doing them. Now, obviously, with the Lazard side of things, like if you were to get a fourth or a fifth, like I think that would be advantageous for the Jets, moving forward because you would also, have these young guys get more reps and you would have extra draft capital or let's just say hypothetically if it's a, doomsday scenario next season where Fields doesn't look like the guy and the Jets are like desperate to draft a quarterback next season, it would be nice to have that extra ammunition in terms of draft capital to trade up. And that's also a reason why I wouldn't want to give up any draft capital for a guy like Mark Andrews. I don't know. I just feel like the Jets are fine rolling in with Mason Taylor. Even a guy like Stone Smart's sneaky good, like Jeremy Ruckert. I like that three-headed monster they have there. It just really comes down to a guy like Mason Taylor really stepping up. So if you guys could hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'll see y'all next time. As always, go Jets.